Motor, Memphis,
Motor,
Motor, Memphis.
Motor, Memphis.
Radio.com. Our subject that we're going to discuss this evening is pretty complex. It's something that most of us don't like to talk about. Of course, women. Okay, we don't like to talk about women because women don't like to be talked about, period, under any circumstance. But we're going to talk about the complexity of beauty, black women's voice, and the black is beautiful concept. Is black and beautiful? Is it still a concept? Do we still, or is that old fashioned and way back in the day and nobody wants to talk about black is beautiful? Like we don't like to talk about soul anymore. It's 2024, so why would we talk about black is beautiful and I got soul and what's up, my man, black power and all? Why do we want to talk about those things? And this is 2024. Well,
5.
I think, yes, go ahead.
No, it's 2025. You said
2025?
2020.
Okay. No, thank you,
Yeah,
Catherine,
you
because
get a year
everybody,
behind, right?
right.
It's
Okay, it's
2025.
2025. Okay, and nobody, do we really want to discuss things that have to do back in the day, as we call it, back in the day? Well,
We still in the day.
yeah, we're in it and we're in it deep, but most people think that we're outside of it. Most people think that we've changed or somehow uh, became something else. And I know I get it all the time. If I'm speaking about something, I get a judgment about, that was a long time ago versus
You
what I'm
don't
talking
hear
about.
that. You don't hear that as much. You did used to hear that a lot
Hmm.
from our people,
Yeah.
but I hear it less now
Really?
because
Sit
so
down.
many things are being done right in our face
Hmm.
that we're getting away from a long time ago because the racism, white supremacy is ever present.
Yes.
It's ever present. It used to be kind of in silence, but now it's just right in our face.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
So whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, it's there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
That's true.
yeah. And the point is, we walking ourselves up to the topic for the night. Um, sort of like getting psychologically ready for it. Uh, do black women, let me start at this point. In the 1800s, the 16, 17, and 1800s, and early 1900s, black women were put in situations where they were not known and seen or made up or uh, uh, was capable of wearing fashion and these types of things and thought of to be ugly. Ugly women, hair undone, cotton sack dresses, you know, would be punished if even had haven't if even found with a mirror would be punished for that. But then come the turn of the century in the early 1900s during the Jim Crow era, and when music became our primary means of vast or communication. We as we all know, the drums were our means of communication at one time in the history of our folk. Then songs became a means of communication, and the songs were a mean of communication all the way up until hip hop, gangster rap, which is still a means of communication, but is extreme. It became negative, and in my estimation, in my point of view, it hurt us a lot. But during the early 1900s, music was a venue that was used for us to express ourselves and express our intellect and express our desires as a people. And it worked. Okay. The entertainers during that era were the first among African American people who were publicly articulate. They wore fine garments and they mastered instruments and song. Of those things, Caucasian had previously
Mhm.
published around the world
Mhm.
that we were incapable of any of that. You know, we were incapable of of understanding music, incapable of understanding well, basically anything. In fact, they propagated around the world that we were animals and we just couldn't. But these brothers and sisters in the early 1900s proved them absolutely 100% wrong and made them all liars. And our people had a sense of pride at that point in time, and uh, that pride grew, and it grew and grew and grew until we are where we are today, where a certain generation is. We 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 evolved in America quite successfully. But then, from the era of those people putting us absolutely in an animal state of mind, and economically, academically, we was just known as basic animals. But how did we prove them so wrong? You know, what was the mentality? What was the mindset? Where did it come from that caused our people to defy everything that these people put upon us? They once said we had tails. And a brother that I knew who was in the military, or his grandfather was in the military during the World War One, I think, and that was the first time black men had left the United States and went overseas outside of the United States fighting the war. They had told the Italians over there that black men had tails, and children would be running, walking down the street and running down the street, looking behind black men to see if they had a tail, black soldiers, to see if they had a tail. But we can't imagine these things, that happened to our ancestors a long time ago. But even from that experience and the experience of black women being humiliated and put down on plantations and work camps and on their jobs, and they could not look beautiful, they could not uh, do anything that made themselves attractive. Otherwise, they could end up being attacked and hurt and mobbed attack at that.
Well, they were, in fact, they actually, I understand it's been said that there are documented cases of them being born with tails and that they surgically
Exactly.
remove them when they're a baby. And
Yes.
there's actually a movie where they poke fun at it. It's called Shallow Hal.
Mm-hmm.
It's an older movie now, but it's called Shallow Hal. So
Mm-hmm.
they are actually the ones, they just want it to put it on us. We don't have any documented cases of that, but they do have documented cases of babies being born with something that looks like that remnants or looks like a tail on a baby. And so they
Mm-hmm.
surgically remove it at birth.
Yes, I've heard that from nurses.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a couple of
Mm-hmm.
nurses told me
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes those children are born with little tails.
Yeah. And it's just them. It's
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
It's not us.
No, it's
So
not us. No,
they
we,
just want to put that on us. So
of course,
now that they know that most of us know it now, they put it in movies and they make fun of it, but it's really true.
it's true. You know, and to say that, I'm basically leading up to uh, where we are today. Who are we today? What happened to us to the point where our women mostly um, are still processing their hair and being sick and having cancer and all kinds of diseases as a result of it. And I remember back in the 70s when black men uh, in the late 60s and 70s, black men processed their hair. But longer come in the mid 70s, I believe, or early 70s, 71, 72, when the songs uh, were made, black, black and proud, and our entertainers were wearing afros and these short afros and these things. Black men quit processing their hair. They stopped doing it way back
Mm-hmm.
then, and women did not stop doing it, and they have not stopped doing it yet. But they're paying a tremendous price for that, and now they're paying such a price for it until um, there are large class action lawsuits happening right now as a result of the chemicals that are causing women cancer, okay, and serious cancer, ovarian cancer, and these real serious and dangerous cancers, and they still won't stop doing it. It's like
Well,
it's
that is also that's part of it. But now that I've been in this environmental racism fight,
hmm
it's a lot of stuff that's in our atmosphere that contributes to it too. And I'm
yes,
just really learning about a lot of the stuff they're doing to our water, they're doing to our air, stuff that they particularly do to water systems that come into Black communities mainly, even the different types of foods that we get in our neighborhoods and grocery stores in comparison to theirs. So it's hair is one factor, but we got a lot. We're literally in a all out war. We just don't realize it.
We just
And
don't
so
realize it.
it looks like it's just the hair. If it was just the hair, that we would have it down packed. If we could if it was really true that if you stop processing your hair, it would not be any more cancer, we could cut the cancer rate in half, and that would be joyous. But unfortunately, that's not even true. It's just like one small piece of the puzzle, just like very small piece of the puzzle, unfortunately.
yeah. Omar,
Yes, sir.
yeah, just jump in when you wanna. This
No,
is a
what
talk
she
show.
said. No, what she said is made sense because if we go back to our own original culture in Africa, we didn't use chemicals in our hair.
No,
Everything was natural, and even the Africa was natural. So when you look at the Africans that we were back then, we had totally different. We weren't trying to look like white folks back then. We didn't have to worry about trying to press and straighten our hair and do all the other crazy stuff. So that's not us. But we wanted to be like them so they wouldn't insult us or disrespect us. But that's still not on the right plane because they still do that even to this day. We're still niggers.
yeah,
And that's not a good thing to do. But we need to go back to our own original culture, even the way we dress, the way we eat, the way we walk, talk, and the way we do our hair and all our other body parts. We need to go back to our culture. Let them have theirs because we invented them. They came from us. They came from us. They came out of us. And I hope they go back to where they came from, which is back to the earth. And that's what Donald Trump was just saying.
But as a substitute teacher,
That's Donald Trump was
mm-hmm.
saying there
Go
recently.
ahead, brother.
He wanted white women to start having babies. He's gonna pay them to have babies. He just said that a few days ago.
well,
I'm
that's that,
sorry,
that's
I didn't understand that. What did you say, Mr. Omar?
Donald Trump just said a few days ago he's going to start paying white women to have babies.
Wow.
Well,
Mm,
Not black women,
okay.
not Hispanic
That,
women,
I
white women.
mean, yeah, because their birth rate is they can't even recover
No.
their birth rate, no matter what they do. So he can pay them all he wants.
they
They
still not
Mhm.
going to
their
achieve
death
anything.
rate, yeah, their death rate
Yeah,
is higher than their birth rate.
yeah.
More of them are dying. They're dying out, and they know it. So
Yeah.
that's just one way of them hollering out. That's what they do. They're gonna get the robot bots to try to replace that death uh rate thing, that birth rate thing too. Is one of the things they got playing. That's
And
why
it's
they
not
so
only in
cheap.
America; it's around the world.
Where
See, it's
that's
not
why the
just here;
robots
it's
are
it's
cheap.
everywhere. They are not having babies. They can't
Mm-mm.
have any more
They
babies.
can't have them.
That's the
European
bottom
countries
line.
all across the earth, the
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
population
They
they're
is
not
done.
trying not
Yeah,
to have them. They just
right.
can't
They
get
can't
pregnant.
do it. Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's the end of them. See, we often, Omar, you know this. Back in the day, we used to think about what what would be the end of these people. We used to say that after 6,000 years, they done. They finished anyway. They
Mm-hmm.
over.
is coming.
Now you can see it. This is how it's going to happen. It's going to happen not by war, not by anything like that, or suicide, where that's part of it, but they're just going to die out, and that's it
Dr.
around the
Mm-hmm.
Umar,
world.
look at what Joe Biden just said before he left office. He said by the year 2050, the white population will be going down and people of color will replace them. By
Yes.
the year 2050, 25 years from now.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
It's happening already.
Right.
Exactly.
It's
Hmm.
happening now. It's
Hallelujah.
happening
Go
now.
ahead, Rose.
And believe it or not, I think I was having a conversation with this, uh, a similar conversation last week with someone concerning that everything is so coming out of the opening now.
Mm-hmm.
Things used to be a secret, about what the white people were doing and the things that they were getting that we couldn't get as far as economically. These things are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no secrets anymore.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
we were just wondering now, since now, there's going to be a lot of committing suicides because they can't take the pressure that's coming to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like we are, once they get exposed to something and they lose what they have, they're not like us. We've been taking pressure and stress all of our lives. They know nothing about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see them now just falling out, committing suicide because they've been exposed.
Oh, yes.
Well, what, what
They're being exposed every day. There is something new that's coming out. They're just
That's
totally,
true.
they're being exposed of everything now.
yeah, yeah, you could, boy, you could write a book on what people are saying in social media about African American inventions, of which these
Hmm.
people claim. You have to be insane to kidnap the
Hmm.
most intelligent people in the world
Yes,
and expect them to be slaves forever.
Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
You have to be actually insane. Those people were insane. They thought they were getting hold to a bunch of animals. They thought because the skin is dark, the skin is black,
yes,
you have nothing behind those eyes. But boy, were they wrong.
yes,
And
sir.
they
Yes,
have come to and they lied and lied and lied and stole and stole and stole. And they did everything in their power to prove that we didn't create anything and did not invent
Hmm.
anything, and they created, invented everything.
Hmm.
In your
Mm-hmm.
classroom books, for an example, every book that I had in high school and in college, when you go into the index or the credits and chapters, they claim they invented everything. They claim they invented, in my algebra book, there was a Caucasian, the father of algebra. Then I get accounting, a Caucasian, the father of accounting. You get science, You know, in the book, a Caucasian is the father of this and that. What we're finding out now, though, they didn't invent anything.
Correct.
Black
Correct.
people, our ancestors,
Right.
even under oppression, invented everything. And now they have to be pretty embarrassed if well, they can't be embarrassed, no, to realize that the truth is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
The truth. Everything that they claim, there was a black man or woman behind it. Everything that they did, there was a black man or a woman behind it. And the brother who uh, uh, during the westward expansion, what's the old Caucasian name, who claimed they discovered the western part of the nation. Come to find out, they had an African American brother with them who did this discovery, and they took credit for it.
Yes, yes, yes,
In
yes, yes,
fact, he was a slave of theirs, and they wouldn't even free the man. Then there was a brother,
yes,
this Caucasian, who claimed that he found a way into the Antarctics, and he discovered the Antarctic. Come to find out, there was a brother with him who discovered, who
yes,
actually discovered the North Pole, and he took credit for it.
yes.
Okay, so there are things that are being uncovered, and we are rising collectively.
Mm-hmm.
We rising, and they are
Mm-hmm.
lowering. This is a
Yeah.
phenomenon. We're going up, they're coming down.
Yeah.
And there is there. Let me tell you, some people think that we're going to have some kind of war. No, we're not. There won't be any wars or any fights or anything like that for them to sustain themselves because they know they can't win. So, but inertia or the nature of God is raising us and lowering them because of the cruelty and hate and murder for 300, 400 years and more that these people have been responsible for. And it's unbelievable. Anybody can jump in. It doesn't matter. We're having
Which
an
is
open
why
conversation.
I feel that they're going to be more suicide things, suicide takers, because of the pressure that they are about to undergo that they have no idea. I think this may have been maybe 2, 3 years ago. I was watching this graduation class. I'm not sure if it was Harvard, it was or if it was a high school, but there was this white young lady. As she walked up to uh, receive her certificate, she had a statement to make. And I tell you all, it was one of the saddest things that I had ever seen. She had to be probably 17, 18 years old, and she had a couple of black friends. And she stood there and she made a speech. Her speech was, you would think that she would say, well, I'm glad to, receive my diploma. Thank you, the school. And she had a long speech about whites and blacks. And when I tell you she spoke, she had tears in her eyes. And she felt that it was important for her to make that speech because she had black friends that attended that school. And she said how sorry she was to finding out how our ancestors were enslaved. She had no knowledge of any of this. And there's a lot of white children that are not prejudiced that are finding out actually what happened. And in this young lady's home, and I said, well, I know her parents are going to be angry with her because she said this. She said, I've always heard the word nigger around in my house. I thought it was a word, a suitable word. I thought it was an existing word because she grew up hearing that. So, and she cried and she said to her friends out there, she was so sorry. But because of them being her friends, she wanted to, acknowledge that her friendship with them was truly true. And to go back to say that in the school, that's one of the reasons why they are taking out Black history, because these children are finding out the truth. A lot of them never knew what actually happened. A lot of the white children never knew what was happening. So now that so many white kids, just as well as our Black kids, they're finding out as well what their ancestors have done. And now they feel a need that it needs to be taken down because they're trying to keep the secret. She said herself that she was taught that Black people were evil people. So that goes back to saying all of this brainwash thing. That's why I always say they're going to commit suicide or something later because their children are finding out. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to make it seem like it's a good thing, but I'm
No,
just
no,
saying that
right.
so much is coming out in the air now. They're being busted on everything.
Everything.
Um, yeah, and it hit home so close when their children are finding out about actually what they did
Mhm,
to our people.
mhm,
So now that's why they want to take it out of the schools now,
mhm.
which they have done. Um, and I tell you, I've been in the school district since 2004, and I ended it during the COVID. And even before the ruling came to taking Black history out of the schools, it had gotten to the point that a lot of schools weren't even teaching Black history. They would teach history, but for some crazy reason, I think maybe I started it about maybe 3, 4 years ago. There was no much Black history. They would have Martin Luther King and things of talking about Martin Luther King, but to actually talk about pure slavery,
No,
that
no,
was
they,
that
they
that
wasn't going to do
that
that.
was out.
Of course.
They never really talked
Well, I
about
want
that.
to
Of course,
welcome
when I
Carolyn
was in
here.
school, that was talked about.
Carolyn, welcome aboard, Miss Martin.
Oh,
I don't think
7-Eleven.
I don't think I don't think
Yeah,
she.
I'm here.
Oh, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
jump
you.
in if you want to. It's okay. We're doing a radio. Look, this is a Zoom radio talk show.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's something, people use Zoom for meetings and these types of things, but
Right.
we converting it to a talk show, a radio talk show. More
Mhm.
talk
I'm
with
familiar.
this.
It
All
would.
right.
Oh,
Go ahead.
now, I was just gonna say. I was just saying. I'm familiar with Mo Talk.
I know you are. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
supposed to be here every
I
week.
know, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, it's
But
a good thing
anyway,
for Zoom. It's a good thing for Zoom.
yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna Zoom and YouTube and podcast it. But the subject that we're talking about is regarding women and the concept of black is
Exactly.
beautiful among women. And why we target women, you know, and we know we all have observed a transformation or a transition of some kind from a position of or women of elegance and beauty, intelligence and power to a generation that appears to have no sense of those things at all.
Oh,
You see,
okay.
so in fact, I was in Orlando last year, a year before last one, a couple of years ago, I guess. And my children and I went to Orlando something, okay, or theme park something, and it was raining, and so we ended up in one of the parking lots, covered parking lots, and we're walking to the entrance of the theme park. I saw girls, I want to say girls, young women, probably in their 20s, 25, something like that, that were wearing fishnet, and that was it. No underwear, no bra, no nothing, just fishnet. And I was just shocked. And I was so shocked. I asked my daughter, her name is Aisha. I said, Aisha, is that what's happening now? Oh, Daddy, yeah, that's what's happening now. Like normal. It was normal. So have our women fought so hard in the past to be recognized as beautiful, cultured, intelligent, to have come to a point where it's all of naught? It doesn't represent anything anymore. So why why did black women sacrifice their lives? And they did,
For
especially in the
beauty.
turn of in the 19th century, in the early 18th. They sacrificed their lives to be recognized as beautiful women, as intelligent women, articulate women. Many of them spoke up before any man spoke up, and many of our women were lynched that we don't know about yet. I attended the grand opening of the Montgomery Lynching Museum, and we all need to go there and see that. That's unbelievable. And there were hundreds. Let me back up. There were thousands of names. I think they said it was more than 6,000 names that they had discovered of black men and women who were lynched. Now this is just lynched. 6,000. Okay. Or was it? It may have been more than that. But there were thousands of women who were lynched. You know, so our women took the lead in civil rights. They took the lead in our evolution in this country. And they died for it too. So what has happened to us as a people that our younger generations have thrown all that back to us and now are acting like people who have, well, maybe they never have been taught, but are acting and carrying on as if though our people have never fought for dignity and honor. And I see it in the streets all the time. And you go to Walmart, you go to all these stores, the women seem like they have given up everything. Is that where we want to go?
I
Omar?
hope,
Oh, go ahead, Carolyn.
I'm just saying, I hope not. I think
Well,
so.
oh,
I'm just
Go ahead, Carolyn.
gonna, some of the problem starts with the lack of knowledge, teaching the kids growing up. If you don't teach the kids, then they won't know. So it
right.
starts at home. Right now, we got kids having kids, babies having babies.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's been going on for some decades, since
yep.
the 70s.
And then by the time they reach my age, they probably still don't know or haven't had the time enough, or no one ever taught them on the importance of their inherited or their background, or
I-
what they parents had to struggle,
yeah.
back in the days. But we
And died.
yeah. Then you have the other set of parents that just don't care, just don't mean much to them. So you can get caught up. Anybody can get caught up with if you don't have the knowledge. So if you don't have the knowledge to teach, for that reason, then you're not gonna know, or you will find out somehow. You
Yes.
know, but and I a lot of kids growing up seeing other kids do it, so they figure it's okay. You got
I
our
guess it's kind of widespread. Go ahead,
variety
Rose.
reasons. Yep, be a variety.
Yeah. Catherine, are you there?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, I totally agree with what you're saying, Miss Martin. I've been in places as well to see the same thing, and I've seen women that were that appeared to be somewhere in the late 60s, um, perhaps possibly in the 70s, with more tattoos than the tattoo master himself, and wearing shorts that were, just entirely too high up for their ages. So then you have to ask the question, does she have any kids? And if she does, you know, that makes you wonder, well, okay, now what did she teach her daughter? Because of the way she's exposing herself. And I see a lot of cases like that. I see cases where there are parents hanging out with the daughters, getting high, smoking with the kids,
Mm-hmm.
drinking with the kids, partying with the kids. Kids go to the club, mama's at the club with the kids too. So a lot of that does come from and is coming from home, the lack of teachings, because you got parents, as you said, you have babies having babies. And when you having a 17-year-old that's having a child that's still partying herself because she's leaving her baby on her partying mom, so now you got that third generation. You got the mom, you got the grandmother who's a party pooper. You got the mom who's hanging with the mom that's a party pooper. So now what are you teaching this child in the third generation? So it's just a history that's repeated. And as far as for the dressing, for some reason, I go into stores, Walmart, and places, and sometimes I just want to cry. You know, I tell my husband I feel like crying sometimes, because when I see my Black women at the point where they come in with Walmart or stores, they have these big, what do they call those big things on your hair, Cal? The bonnets.
Yeah, something like that.
They,
Mm-hmm.
they go in the stores with big bonnets. They go in the stores with I saw one young lady with short pants, very high up, sleeping shorts, house shoes, and a bonnet and a sleeping shirt. So I'm saying, what's happening here? It's like they don't care, and they're exposing all of their body. And I'm saying, now what this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think it all comes from babies having babies,
Okay.
and it's a sad thing, because you know our ancestors and people fought hard to be recognized, for beauty. We fought to have beauty, and now it seems like the younger generation is just going out any kind of way with it.
Thank you very much, Rose. Welcome aboard, Hassan.
Yeah,
Omar,
welcome. Yes.
Hi, Hassan.
Hello.
Hello.
Peace.
go
Yeah,
go ahead, Omar.
I got your text message, so I want to join in.
Well,
Uh,
thank you for coming aboard.
yeah, we have had some talk earlier, and I always like to go back. It's one word, that's been lost in the current generation, and most of them don't even know what the word is, and that's the word modesty. Modesty is a lost word, and most of the women you see now, young women, young and old women, they don't have any concept of what modesty is all about. They is one learned man said a lot of our women nowadays they dress like that because they are attacking a man with their beauty. But here's the thing: uh, when they dress the way they dress, exposing everything, they're only attracting a man to their body, and once he get what he want, he's done with her.
Do you think they care? I don't think they care about being
They
done with.
don't. They
I
don't
think that's
care.
what the intent is. They just want to
They
get done and be done with and go on.
exactly. It's like they don't have any concept really, and it really goes back to low self-esteem.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
They
You're
don't
right.
they don't really understand the value of a woman or the power that they have as a woman.
Well, we just went over that before you came online. We basically talked about how our mothers and our ancestors, the female side of us, how powerful they were, and they were the engines behind all of our revolutions. And
Yes.
many of them lost their lives doing it. They are, we've not discovered many of them, but it wasn't the male leaders like we think it was, because the media was attracted to men like Dr. Martin Luther King and all of those, Malcolm and those brothers. But the women were the ones who put their lives on the line and really raised us from that low level of
That's
oppression.
Yes.
You know, yeah,
The black woman has always been a savior.
she has.
She
And I
has.
hate to see our women today doing what they're doing, but they're
But they're
doing it
not
for a
saviors.
reason.
They're definitely not saviors
Yeah,
today, though.
yeah. Omar, Catherine. All right. So that opens up for me. Thank you. Now, um, the point is, this talk show, the Black is Beautiful, women and their beauty, and how this beauty that we once cherished as a people is fading into somewhere or something that we're not able to recognize. In other words, when we look at ourselves as a people, we cannot identify ourselves anymore. And
You
this
can't.
could be because of 30 years of gangster rap, hip hop, and all that derogatory uh, music, and what, not just the music, but what these people represented to all of us and to our young people. We used to say on the Love Power show, Omar and Wallace Red and all of us, that that music is primarily the reason why we are at the state that we're in right now, and along with the violent video games and that type of thing. But a lot of our callers would call in and say that's not the reason. No, it's if though these things have absolutely no effect on the human mind. But all of this stuff have a lot to do with the makeup of human beings. We can be programmed. And many of us think that we can't be programmed. But if you listen to the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, you're programming yourself. If you do the same things over and over and over and over again, you're programming yourself.
Yes.
It's no magic to it at all. Okay.
It's not.
And
And
so,
in my own lifetime, or in our own lifetime, I can remember how certain movies and certain songs had an impact on the black community.
Yes.
And
Black
one of
exploitation.
right,
Black
one of the,
exploitation. Yeah.
let's go back to Superfly.
Yeah. Black, that's what I mean.
When Superfly, when the movie Superfly hit and came out,
I've been listening to it for 2 days.
and everybody we remember
Yeah.
wanted the Superfly hairdo.
Everybody.
Everybody,
Yeah.
you know.
And that was
And
it.
it's just so now we take that example and fast forward. Hip hop is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, but hip hop is just more destructive and more damages than the movies were in the past.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know.
Because they have a culture of murder.
Yes.
And that culture of murder is unbelievable. And Omar produced a list of over how many murders, Omar? Oh, he's not available right now. But he had a list of over, I think it was over, give me a second, 10, 15,000 young hip hoppers that have been murdered.
Mm.
Murdered. I mean, many of them are unknown, but his list was compiled based on those people who were in that music industry, whether they was big or small. I think it was around 13,000.
Mm.
Okay, so you have a music industry that is a culture of murder.
Yes.
Okay, and you have women who are a part of that industry is a culture of sex
Yes.
and exploitation. It's much worse than it was during the days of the 70s. And Pam Grier and all those ladies and all the pimps and all that kind of stuff. It's worse than that because
worse.
these people are killing each other.
Sex, drugs, and murder.
Yeah, and I found that they are so immature in trade and commerce and the economics of this country. They can't imagine that the amount of wealth in this country, in the world. So they believe that if an up and coming rapper can threaten them and their money making ability, so they kill them.
Yes. Look at what's happening. What's happening right here in Memphis and Orange Mound.
Yeah.
And these other areas. I mean, the black on black people talking about the white man is no, he's not. All the killing being done by people that look like me and you.
Yeah, but he's the instrument behind it. So we can't let him off the hook. See,
No,
he's
we can't
on
let
the
him
hook.
off the hook.
He's the one he's the orchestrator of it all because he rendered all of our boys into poverty. He rendered them in poverty, meaning that he did not open the doors for everybody, and he being the master of the wealth, and allow everybody to have an opportunity to make a good living. He shut the door on our people. And as a result of that, our people start doing things to make money that was not good for the community themselves and nobody else. And now the prisons are full of our boys and girls. The graveyards are full of our boys and girls. And it's no end to it. So although we are talking about our young ladies and what they are doing to themselves and how they are regressing, so to speak, as far as their elegance and beauty and glamour and class, we still have this enormous problem outside of that. Now, and people are always asking us for solutions, you know. So what is the solution then? You see all of this, you know all of this. What is the solution? Well, I always tell them that I'm just a talk show host. You know what I mean? I'm not an expert in this and an expert in that. I'm not a professional. I don't have a PhD. I don't study society and sociology and etiology and all those ologies. I don't study any of that. So the people that you pay, you give money to every week, let them come up with the solution.
Mm.
You paying these people their salaries in government, in politics, in religion, in churches and masjid and massages and temples. You're paying all these people money every week, but you're going to ask a talk show host for the solution. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? You got to get a solution from them, from those people. Those people are the ones who are making the good living and making the big money and all of that. And so you should target them and force them to come up with the solution. Go ahead, Rose.
I'm sorry, I went out for a minute. I just came back in, so I'm sorry.
Oh, that's
I
okay.
missed something. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Catherine, are you still there? I guess.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Jump in when you can.
Okay, I can say something like you say. Really, the dress and all that comes from the root of the music industry. And the music industry basically have our artists doing those demonic songs and crazy videos and all that kind of stuff. What we as a community, we're going to have, just like Al Sharpton does not speak for me. He does not speak for me. And
Right.
he don't speak for a lot of black people.
No.
And a lot of black people are waking up to him. Now I know some of you may feel offended about it, but he does not speak for me. Just like he don't speak for me, Lil Wayne don't speak for me. Those rappers that's with all that demonic crap and self-hatred and stuff against our community do not speak for me. Those women that are dressed like that, they don't represent the collected black woman. They
Right.
do not
Okay.
represent us.
Mm-hmm.
They will never represent us. I don't care what you see in Walmart, Kroger, and anywhere else. And unfortunately, I see it in the school system.
Mm.
I'm going to write a letter actually about it because I think it's ridiculous. But yeah, you have parents who come up to the school with shorts up their butt with cheeks hanging out, and the
Mm-hmm.
schools let them in, and they used to would not let them in.
Mm.
They used to would not let them in the office. You would have to leave immediately and go put on some appropriate clothing. You couldn't come in robes, bonnets, none of that. Some kind of way they allow it in. And it's a cancer that has to be snipped in the bud.
Mm-hmm.
So we shouldn't allow it in the school system with the parents. Now, this just me. We
And
need
I
to
totally,
right. We need to
yes,
stop that.
yes.
And I'm going to write a letter to the two schools that I witnessed it at. And I'm also going to send a letter to the school board and to the interim superintendent on record that that must be stopped. It should not be allowed in no school. I'm also going to pull up the dress code. I think it's actually against the dress code, but people slip stuff in when and how they can. But like I say, these women, these particular females and these males with their pants hanging below their butts, they do not speak for black people. They do not represent who we are, and they don't speak for us. And I know just as many young black people who don't dress that way. I know
Yes.
That's
just as
true.
many, and I see them
Mm-hmm.
all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not, I know quite a bit of young people who don't have tattoos. Quite a
That's
few
true.
who do
Mm-hmm.
not have any tattoos on them.
Mm-hmm.
So some get it, some don't. And now they got they're now there. I saw this place across the street from Oak Court Mall when I went to Chase Bank. It's a place right in that little shopping strip where they are removing tattoos.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Okay.
Because if you want to be accepted in a certain place in society, they're never going to be accepted. If you're in the music industry and you out there performing, then that's fine. But when you want to, and this is really, I'm talking about black, white people, if they want to be in a certain field or with a certain level, they can't come in there with that.
Right.
And they know that they can't. So now they've lived their young lives with all that stuff and they got to remove it.
And that's
So,
what they basically do anyway. They
right. Well,
they be
see, they
wild,
have
but they
them.
straighten up.
They have the money and the
Yeah.
resources that they gonna take care of them. They got the golf games with Uncle so and so and neighbor
Right.
this that would cake for them. But what I am saying is that when these people you see them dressed like that, I make like I don't even see them because they get a rise off your reaction. I
Hmm.
act like I don't see nothing. I walk by like nothing is there because
Mm-hmm.
I understand a lot of them are lost. A lot of them are attention seekers.
They are.
And
That's
that's
very
what
true.
they're looking
That's
for.
true.
But they
Mm-hmm.
don't represent me as a black woman. They don't represent the collective. Even though
Well,
you may
I'm happy
see
to
it
hear
in
you
there,
say that.
they do not, just like Al Sharpton and all them other folks, that boycott and all that stuff that the Democratic Party is behind, they do not speak for me.
Hmm.
What was the boycott before all of this? So that's a whole nother thing. But I'm just saying, why aren't we just saying, let's support this black business, that black business?
Hmm.
Let's get
Well, I think
behind the black businesses that are open and in operation and need our business. Okay, fine, stay out of Target, but name 20, 50 stores around the nations that black people can go and shop.
Hmm.
That's true.
So
I
that's
want to kick
fine
in.
Go ahead,
if you
Hassan.
wanna
I
boycott
want
Target and all them folks, that's fine. But where are our black owned businesses that we can be supporting?
Hold
kick
on,
in on
Catherine.
something you
Go ahead,
said
Hassan.
about the dress code. It's a need, and the idea she has of writing a letter. That's a great idea because we have to hold our public servants accountable. Somebody got to set the tone, and that's what leadership is for.
Mm-hmm.
Setting the tone. We gotta have some morality, some basic decency, and it's just going away. I can remember you talk about the public school, how they people walking in. I'm a FedEx employee. I can remember years ago, FedEx had a strict dress code policy for women and men. But now it's gone. I mean, you got women same way. They walking up in FedEx with the thing on their head and with two shorts with the sheets falling out. They doing that. Years ago they couldn't do that. They would turn them around and send them back home. So it's getting to the point where not only companies, but especially public schools, there should be a standard of
Well,
just plain
why
decency.
is there no standard? Why has things changed? What is it? What is the overall
I think
goal for
everybody
all of this?
everybody's selfish. People really don't give a flip. They,
And I
they really
totally
don't.
agree. You're right. Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
like the sister say, you don't speak for me. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
thinker. We gotta think for ourselves. And we
Mm-hmm.
have to have everybody got a standard. Women, good women, they have standards for men. They don't want just no any man. They want a clean, a well-dressed man, a man that's about something.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want no boy that's gonna come that they gotta take care of. So there has to be standards. And
go
that's
ahead,
Mm-hmm.
what we
Rose.
need to get back to.
Right.
Go ahead, Rose.
And I totally agree, Mr. Hassan. And for one of the things, and also Miss Catherine, I that writing a letter, I think would be a very good, would be a very good idea as far as for the school. Um, I've seen incidents like that happen as well. When I was in the school district, I've seen a mother come, and we're talking about high school kids. She came to represent some meeting for her son, whom was suspended, and she came with, I mean, very high shorts. And what happened was, she came in the middle of class. Classes were changing over, and another young man that knew the young man whose mother was coming, he said something to the young man about your mom is fine. So that attitude almost caused the son to have to fight with another young man in the school children because he was looking at his mom. But see, his mom came that way, dressed like that. So, and to think that young 17 and 18-year-olds are not going to look at you in some type of way. And I think it was pretty embarrassing for the child.
Sure
Because I
was.
could only imagine
Mhm.
to think of having a mom to come to school half naked and all the kids looking at her and my, classmates are whistling. That has to be pretty embarrassing.
Yes, it
And
is.
as far as in the job fields, believe it or not, I think one of the reasons why it is not changing as far as the younger generations addressing, there are no more there are no more dress codes. They don't care anymore because when I worked at Sephora where I was a trainer, um, they had a dress code. And it got to the point where they started hiring so many young people. And when they come in with their pants sagging, they started out saying, okay, pull your pants up. You got to go back out till you straighten your pants up. I think they kind of got tired or just didn't care.
Mm.
And it got to the
Yeah, they
point
got.
that security wouldn't say anything to these young people when they come with their pants hanging
Yeah,
down.
they for
And
nothing.
yeah, and I spoke with the supervisor once. I said, well, what's going on with that? Why are these young people still able to come in with their clothes hanging? You know what she said to me? Child, don't nobody care anymore. Just long as they trying to come in and work. We're just glad to see them come in and work. They
Yeah,
don't
that's what I
care
was
anymore.
thinking.
So
People
they've
say
given
too.
up. They've given up,
Mhm.
and and that's the cure of the thing. And now
Yeah.
when I see young people even going, um I went to Panda Express. I love Panda Express on Germantown Road. Thursday they had a job fair out there, and I kid you not, you would think that the way these young people were dressed, that they were actually going to Panda Express to sit down and eat. They were a part of the interview of the hiring process. There was one young lady had on, she had on I don't know what you call the blouse. I don't know, but it had little holes in it where you could see the color of the bra. um it was ridiculous.
Mm.
And you think that these people will not get hired, but nobody cares anymore.
Mm.
They're hiring these young people just the way they come in. I see some of them with their hair standing up, look like cotton balls in a young man head. They're hiring them. They walk out the door, they got a job. Their pants sagging, they got a job. I've seen a couple that come on with flip flop, look like they just got out the bed and say, "Oh, I'm running late for my interview." Jump on it, put their flip flops on, jeans hanging, underwear showing, regular just a white t-shirt on. They get a job.
Mhm.
So no, being that nobody cares anymore, this is the process. It's like everyone is giving up. Nobody
Mm.
cares anymore.
Well, that's seems to be what's happening, and it's not good for society. It is not good for us as a people. But I used to think that because of COVID-19, when so many people died, and these people, many of them were in fact part of the labor pool of of the nation and of cities, and to replace those people were a big thing. And so they probably, I thought that they were a bit desperate to get employees because of that. We miss you, Dr. Omar. Go ahead.
What's the subject again? It was the parenting.
Parenting is a good subject. We seem to be open minded.
You know what? Parenting is off track, has been off track for a long time.
Yes,
And we need to go back to the parenting we used to have back in our African culture. We didn't let children do certain things back in the day.
right.
And like the sister was saying, children having children, they have young people have, but then why is it like that if you didn't have a teenage that you're allowed to go out in the street and get pregnant?
Right.
You put controls in place. Even the videos that we let our children look at today is off track. These videos are not made for children.
I totally agree.
And some of the things you see, even in cartoons, you have sisters in cartoons, playing with each other because they're sisters.
That's true.
That's not for children. But we got to go back. Even the brother was talking about the music, the dangerous music, the gangster rap. We had conscious rap back then. You look at the some of the conscious rappers we had. Today, it's gangster rap, and they're killing each other. Look at Memphis. 28 killings in the past 26 days.
Dr. Omar, I brought up the fact that you had a list of what, 10,000, 13,000?
1,746 gangster rappers that have been murdered by other gangster rappers.
Wow.
And that's why I asked the question, how many gospel singers have been murdered by other gospel singers? How many conscious rappers have been murdered by other conscious rappers? And when the people call in, they say, none. Country and Western, jazz, they haven't been murdered. But these gangster rappers are killing each other. That music is so poisonous, they're dying from listening to their own music. And we just had that in Memphis, just down on Beale Street a couple of weeks ago. A gangster rapper got killed, and then that gangster rapper fled to Atlanta, and then in Atlanta, he got killed. But again, we got to protect our children from this poisonous social media, the TV and the music, and get them out of the clothes they're wearing. Those clothes they're wearing, they're not made for civilized people. That's not our clothes. We don't dress like that. But we allow our children to dress like that, pants sagging off their booty. What kind of dress is that? Girls dress the way they dress. You can see their breasts and everything else hanging out. That ain't no civilized dress style. You couldn't even wear that in church. You shouldn't wear it in church. But they wear it everywhere they go.
Yeah, they don't care.
And if you look at TikTok, Dr. Lou, look at TikTok. You have women on TikTok with their booty shaking.
Yeah.
Some with a string up their booty. They ain't got no underwear on. They got a string up their booty. You can see the whole booty.
Right.
Well, let me say this. TikTok is for them folks, okay? It's for them people. So let them be on TikTok with their crap. But they don't represent us. They on there thinking they making money. And that money is going to come down to a slow stop real soon. So listen, you guys, I have to leave out, but thank you. It was a good conversation. I need you to put me on your text list to loot somebody else and add it. You on there. Me on there.
Just Catherine, before you leave, what we need to do is have a black TikTok that ain't all got all that sexual stuff on it. We need to have a black Facebook page. And we need to have a black Google so we can make it black so we can have it for ourselves and we can control it ourselves. Right now,
I've been saying that for years. Don't even get me started. Black Planet started out like that, and they got rid of Black Planet. They took the colors and made it Facebook. That's a whole nother story for another time.
Even a black Facebook, we need that for ourselves. Let the white folks
well, we had it, and we actually had it, and they took it. But I'll tell y'all about that. I have to leave out now.
Well, thank you for joining us.
A wonderful conversation. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you in the future.
Okay, same here.
All right.
And I have a statement. I'd like to make a statement concerning what Dr. Omar spoke of a minute ago concerning the rappers, the rap singers. And you're right. You don't see that in country singers. You don't see that in gospel singers. And I think one of the reasons mostly that it goes on in the rap business, because you have to keep in mind, most of all the rappers are what? Either former gang bangers or still are gang bangers. So you used to have the East Coast against the West Coast. You had Tupac, you had Suge Knight, and these people they were in different affiliations, again, different gang related. So you got these people bringing their gang relationship into their music industry. Okay. And then they begin to, when they want to talk about one another, or they did it through their music. So that's one of the main reasons why I believe that the rap is all of the killing, because they are still affiliated in the gangster world.
Mhm.
And that's how they reach out
You
and
know,
act out toward one another.
Let me share
you
this
brought
too.
up. Go ahead, Omar.
I have a video, and I might have sent it to you already, Dr. Luke, but this is a video of a white guy that was working for a Jewish company that was promoting gangster rap.
Mm-hmm.
And after some years of working there, he decided to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And on YouTube, he was being interviewed,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about how the music is so poisonous he couldn't take it anymore. And he also said that these gangster rappers, when they sign contracts with these Jewish record producers, they have to sign a contract agreeing that if something happens to them, they got life insurance that they'll give they'll give the money to the record producer in case something happens to them. But they have to have gangster rap music that has the poison in it. The women are shaking their booty. They're using profane language. They're using threats against one another. That's the kind of music they put in airways. And they don't. If you don't have that, then they don't want you. You don't give you a contract with no music to play gangster rap anymore.
But it's a trap. The trap was set a long time ago for our boys and girls. You
I
know,
agree.
the guy.
This is the white guy that was
I
doing this.
know.
That's why he walked away. He said, I can't take it no more.
I know. Because see, the trap included who was that manager of Whitney Houston? The Caucasian guy.
Yeah.
What was it? I'm nearly called his name.
Yeah, I can't call
But
his name.
what I found out that
Was it Cleve
Clean,
or
yeah,
something? I
something like
forget
that.
his name.
I
Clyde.
found out
Clyde, that's right, Clyde.
right. I found out that he is a major investor in the prison complex industry.
Got a lot of that.
See, when you say major investor,
Yes, sir.
he's responsible for the music, the gangster rap music,
Yes, sir.
and he's going to benefit from the music that's sold, the death with insurance policies,
Yes.
and going to be paid in the prison complex
Yes.
for the conduct of our children.
Yes.
And we can't see it. See, we think it's all natural.
No.
You know, you get bad, you shoot somebody. No, it's not. It's a trap. It's a schematic
Yes,
where
sir.
these people are making money on everything there is about us. And we cool with that.
Yeah.
We should be outraged. But
You
we are
know,
not.
I sent a letter to FedEx chairman and asked him not to let gangster rappers come to the FedEx forum for any event. And of course, he ignored the letter.
Yeah.
And now I'm hoping that they don't let them come back to the FedEx forum because the gangster rap music is destroying our community.
It's destroying
It
us.
is.
Well, we need to do a concerted effort for that. Okay, we have about I think 9 minutes. Yeah, we
And
closing
you know
out
what?
on
You know what else, Dr.
got
Luke? They're
8
about to
o'clock. So,
outlaw gangster rap concerts in South Haven.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, they have some gangster rappers there, and people that own the event center, they're about to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Coming down in South Haven, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I heard a news reporting that somebody got fired because all he was bringing was the black gangster rap.
Yes.
Do it.
I saw that.
But you know, it has taken this many years for them to get a backlash. That's unbelievable. But you know, it's better late than never. So the thing is, you know, they owe us for what they produced in our black girls. You know, and we should make them pay for that, however we can.
Yes,
But
sir.
I don't think we would. But they were the ones who engineered and brought about this decline in black femininity, and that is unbelievable. That hurt us. That's going to hurt us for generations. Okay, and the only way that we can find some kind of relief is that we have to talk about it. I mean, we have to discuss it. You know, it's not much that we can physically do, but we have to talk about the ins and the outs of it. You know, and don't let it rest. Always discuss it. And that's what we did on the Love Power show. We never did let them get away.
No.
Nah, we wouldn't.
Mhm.
We got them every
Mhm.
week. Every week we were on
Yes,
them.
sir.
Every
Yes,
week,
sir.
and we discovered a lot. And I think we need to do that here because see, if in Memphis, Tennessee, for an example, something is happening here that might not be happening in other places. You know, these homicides and this lewdness and corruption. You know, it's beating our brains out here in Memphis, Tennessee. It's
Yes,
so many
sir.
people. You know, the other day, what was that? The day is Sunday. Like about Wednesday, a young man was murdered in McDonald in Frazier on Thomas Street.
Mm-hmm.
Body lying behind the counter. You know, you think about that. So this young man is at work, and somebody comes in and kill him. He died on his job floor. And then later on that night, 3 more people get shot. I think a couple of them died too.
You know, Dr. Luke,
Yeah.
they just had 2 children get murdered at Booker T. Washington High School Thursday of this past week.
Wow.
That's right.
They got, 2 of them got murdered.
And just they had 2 out here in Orange Mountain
Excuse
in
me.
the last 48 hours.
Really?
Murdered. Yeah, I mean, it's just that self-hatred. Everybody got a,
Yes,
gun, the young man with the gun in his hand.
yes.
And it's that, it's just a condition of our
But you
people.
know,
I mean, they're lost people.
yeah,
And they're self-destruction.
Yes.
excuse me. And you know, now it's always in the back of my mind, this one thing. In 91, you know, we created this organization, Commission Against Senseless Killings. No one took us seriously. Nobody. No preachers, no politicians. Well, let me take that back. The Republican politicians, two of them, I have a friend who, he's an Arab. He always said, both of them. He make mockery of our linguists, right? So I said 2 of them. But um, um, we have, gosh, excuse me, I'm getting hoarse and my throat is parched and dry. But so doing with the Commission Against Senseless Killings, we had 2 Republicans who did support our organization and 1 Democrat.
Wow.
Okay. And so no preachers, okay, no ministers, no imams supported Commission Against Senseless Killing. And we used to say in our meetings, so don't worry, the killings aren't going to stop. And they're going to get worse and worse, and they did. Didn't stop, got worse. And we predicted this day. We predicted a day would come when people would be murdered in the streets, just bodies everywhere. And that's what we're seeing today.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what if our community had rised up in conjunction with the Commission Against Senseless Killing and made a stand, took a stand? See, we used to say that one thing about youth is this. If they see their parents on the line against their conduct, they'll cease and desist. And that's what we were trying to do. We were trying to get parents, get us in mass, in force, to show our young people that we are concerned, that we, not we are at war against you, but we are concerned and we want you to do better.
Mm.
And we couldn't get it. We could not get that support. Now we got Mingle support. Okay. We got, we did fairly well, but we couldn't make an overall impact. And we'll never be able to do that again. See, that's the point. You have a chance at some things. You don't have a guarantee to do it over and over and over again. You get a shot. Sometimes you get one shot at something.
Right.
And that's it.
Dr. Luke, think about this though. In the country of Australia, violent video games, the president of Australia has banned them for the whole country.
Mhm.
And the same thing with violence on TV. They banned that from children even watching it.
Yeah.
In our country, we don't do that.
No.
It's
No,
all good and just they're gonna make some money off of it.
Well, that's the point. They're gonna make money off of it because they call it a capitalist society, and capitalists are not responsible for morality.
They're gonna send our children to prison. They're gonna make money off the children going to prison.
Yeah. They're gonna
That's
make money
nonsense.
off of everything, and the reason they're gonna make money off of it is because our parents are so narrow-minded and closed-minded until they allow people to tell them, don't discipline your children.
Oh yes.
Mm.
Oh yes.
And our parents say, well, it's the law. We can't discipline them. Well, they're just going to have to be whatever they're going to be. And they do become whatever they're going to be.
Exactly.
And that's what it is. And so it's in other words, in America, under the law of the land, there's a principle that's called buyer beware. And that principle trickles down into every facet of society. Buyer beware. In other words, you're on your own.
And let's think about this one thing.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we got spankings, sometimes with a switch or with a belt.
Yeah.
Even today, you still can discipline your children. You can't abuse them.
Right.
But you can still discipline them children. And parents need to come out that mindset. I can't do this to my child. Something you can do, and you need to do it to your child. Otherwise, when he gets off track, you can't pull him back.
And that's what has happened. See, a lot of the children have gotten off track. And on our talk show once, I mentioned that a brother had told me that he was in a barber shop. It was several years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And he was in the barber shop. There was a little boy in the barber shop. And somebody asked the little boy, said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And the little boy said, I want to kill somebody.
Hmm.
And that came from a reliable person who witnessed this.
Wow.
The boy said, I want to kill somebody.
I'm not surprised.
So sad.
And now, say that was 10 years ago, and the little boy may be, 17, 18, may have already killed somebody by now.
I'm not surprised.
Me either. No, I'm not surprised. Not at all. But it just shows you that, we have waves of generations that's moving, coming along, one after the other. Sometimes we kind of think in terms of our own generation, and we can't see these several generations behind us or in front of us, for that matter. And so therefore we are not in touch generational with our previous generation, and we should find a way to do that. We have to be in touch, and that's what I liked about Commission Against Senseless Killing, because back then we were able to stay. We had support groups, and in these support groups, families would come to these support groups and lie down their burden of losing a loved one and have the support they needed in that support group. And so we got a chance to relate with generations.
You got to work tomorrow.
So we can't do that anymore. Welcome aboard, Mark. You come right along when we're finished shut down, Mark. We done spent an hour. But we appreciate you. Next time we hope to give you a good enough advance notice. Okay. But I want to thank everybody for taking part. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And now we got our volume straight. We got our video straight. We've been working on this for a while, and
Okay.
everything is good. So hopefully everything stands for next week.
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So welcome back next week with a brand new topic, and I'll send it out to everybody with Mo Talk Memphis.
All right, Motalk.
All right now.
Keep step.
Bye bye, as the guy should
All
say
right.
on one of them news broadcasts. I can't think of his name, but he should say bye bye.